strange thing has happened in modern politics. The word far-right used to carry a heavy meaning. It pointed toward movements that were shaped by racial supremacy, authoritarian nostalgia, fascist symbols, violent nationalism, and open hostility toward minority groups. It was not a casual insult, it named real political danger. But today, that meaning has become blurred. The label can now be thrown at a parent questioning school policy, a religious voter defending traditional marriage, a worker angry about globalism, a rural community suspicious of elite institutions, or someone worried about immigration and cultural change. Once that happens, the word no longer only identifies extremism, it begins to function as a weapon of shutting down uncomfortable political concerns. That shift matters because serious moral language depends on precision. When a heavy accusation is used too casually, the public can no longer tell whether the word names a genuine threat or merely expresses political dislike. And when every conservative anxiety is treated as fascism, real fascism becomes harder to identify. This does not mean that extremist politics should be excused. Movements that trade in racism, authoritarianism, conspiracy, religious hatred, misogyny, political violence, and contempt for democratic life must be confronted with moral clarity, because a society that cannot name danger eventually becomes vulnerable to that exact danger it refuses to name. But moral clarity is not the same thing as demonization, because moral clarity names danger with precision. It asks what is actually being said, who is being harmed, what history is being invoked, what policy is being defended, and what kind of society is being imagined. Demonization, on the other hand, does something easier. It skips the hard work of judgment and simply declares these people are dangerous, hateful, and beyond conversion. That shortcut may feel righteous, especially in a political culture addicted to public condemnation. But it carries a serious cost, because people rarely abandon their fears simply because they are mocked for having them. More often, they carry those fears into darker rooms, harder movements, and more radical communities willing to say, you were right, they hate you, they will never listen, come to our side. That is how careless labeling can become a recruitment ground. A democracy cannot survive when every disagreement becomes a form of moral exile, because citizens who feel permanently condemned do not simply disappear,